Editing Flurry here. Just wanted to say if you get uncomfortable with like NSFW or like sexual stuff, I probably would not watch the end of this video. Like the first two stories are fine, but like the third one is really bad, and if that makes you uncomfortable, I wouldn't I wouldn't watch any further. Um, like yeah, I just wouldn't. Like the first two stories are fine, but the third story is like really it's really bad. So if that makes you uncomfortable, maybe don't watch the last story. But yeah. And don't mind the black background on my intros. I haven't made an intro screen yet. Like they have never done an intro before. So yeah. But anyway, that's all I want to say. If you just like be warned. Viewer discretion advised, that kind of stuff. And with that, let's get to the video. Okay. So, as you know, I play my fair share of D&D. I'm a player. I play D&D actually a lot. And I've been playing for a few years. I think I've played for at least 5 years, maybe six. I don't remember the exact number, but I know it's pretty. It's been a while. That's the point I'm trying to make. I played D&D for a while, and my experiences overall have been pretty good. There, of course, there's always going to be a few bad experiences when you play D&D, but like mostly good. You know. Um, and as you know, you probably read the title of this video. Today we're going to be reading D&D horror stories. As you know, right, I play D&D with some good friends of mine, and overall the experience has been pretty great. I love it. It's very fun. Um, of course, not every single party is going to be perfect, and I know that not every single campaign is going to go well. But yeah. But yeah, you read the title. We're going to be looking at D&D horror stories today. So, let's get to the first story, huh? I'm also going to be giving my advice on what I would do in this situation. Yeah, I'm going to be giving my input and my thoughts and like saying like what I would do in the situation. For fun, just to get some maybe like help out some new players or DMs that are trying to, like start a campaign, stuff like that. Yeah, let's read the first story. Player gaslights the party, ignores the DM. I was about to start running a game by mixing the Fandover modules, and during session 1, I ran into an issue. When I introduced the factions, one of my players got very excited and said he already had a character that fit the setting. Their character's father was part of a knightly organization based in Falden. I pushed back since Falden is a small frontier town, not really big enough to host a knightly order's headquarters. I suggested they could instead come from a larger city like Waterdeep and still tie such a group. They didn't like that idea, and then they instead insisted that the Harper perfected fit their character concept better, saying, well, my dad was a Harper, and the Harpers are a knightly organization. I explained that the Harpers aren't really a paladin-style knightly order, they're more of a secret network of spies and do-gooders. I offered the Order of the Gauntlet as a compromise, since it fit the knightly vibe, but it could reasonably have a presence coming out of Waterdeep. Again, the player rejected it. The player told me I was killing their fun by not letting them play the backstory they wanted. My perspective, though, I was just trying to keep the setting consistent. Falden isn't a city with knightly chapters and military factions. It felt like the moment I had to say no. Okay, so from what I'm getting, the DM tried to come up with a compromise, or I guess the player comes with a character. The DM says no, like it doesn't really make sense, and then tries to compromise with the player. Player just doesn't seem to care and wants to keep on going with their story with their own character, and the DM is like, no, because it doesn't make sense, right? So from what I'm seeing, it's a little bit of I don't know. For me, it's disrespectful if you keep on trying to push something that the DM says no to. I think it's a little disrespectful, and you're not really respecting the setting if you still are trying to continue to play the same thing that they said no to. But anyway, let's continue. At first, the players seemed to accept it, even agreeing to change the story. But once the campaign started, the crisis began. They played their characters like my father was a knight invalid and was still true. Even talking to NPCs and insist my father's knightly order is here. Other players grew confused. Wait, if there's a knightly order here, I can go get their help. Each time I had to clarify there's no knightly order in Falad and there's a Harper safe house, but they're not an army. The player completely ignored this and doubled down. Once I started pressuring the newer players, saying things like, see, the GM is actually allowing this, you should go along with it. Eventually the table was a mess of confusion, arguments, and bullying. The flow of the game broke down, new players felt uncomfortable, and the group completely lost any sense of cohesion. Okay. So yeah, like I was saying, like disrespectful, especially if the DM says no and you still do it anyway. The fact that they even lied about it, like they said they were gonna change it and then didn't change it, that's even more disrespectful. And they're making it worse by confusing newer players and trying to make it seem like the DM is allowing it when they're not. So, and yeah, they're just causing a bunch of confusion and stuff. Like, what I would do in this situation is after that first session, I would probably like pull that player aside and talk to them, have a good like discussion with them, and be like, hey, like that's not okay. Like, you can't, you know, you can't be doing that. Like, if you're going to continue playing at this table, you have to respect the setting that I have and like the world that I have. You can't just do whatever. Like, you can do like in D&D, right? Like, you can do pretty much whatever you want under the DM's like umbrella. But if the DM says no to something, like you don't do it. So, like, and they're showing that they did it anyway to show the genuine like lack of respect for that. At least to me. I don't know if that's for other people, but it's genuinely like disrespectful to do that. And yeah, I think the first time I would have had a conversation after the session, and then if they still continue to do it, I probably would consider kicking them out or moving them from the group because they're confusing the new players. And you want, as a DM, you want to make sure that all your players are happy and like not confused and stuff. So like if one player is making everyone else like confused and non-coherent, like that's when you should put your foot down and maybe think about kicking out a player. Definitely. But yeah, for this one, definitely like most problems can be solved with communications. I definitely think that the DM should have talked about this for like of course I talked beforehand, but like after the session I definitely would have talked with them again, and if they still were like pushing, then I'd kick them out. Honestly. Maybe it's just me because I have little to no tolerance for disrespect towards DMs, so they put in so much work, and yeah, it doesn't feel right to me. Definitely like communication first, kick second. But they just don't seem to have any lack of care for your world and their setting. So yeah. And this goes for players too. Like you can't like if a DM says no to something, you shouldn't do it anyway. I don't like people say like in D&D you can do whatever you want, but like you still have to like follow like the DMs like because like it is their world at the end of the day. Like you're a player in the world, but they make the world most of the time. Once you're doing like not homebrew setting, but like you know, like they play like they make the setting for you, and then if you disrespect that, it's like it's not good and like it's terrible. So yeah, just don't do it. Be a good player. Be respectful. Definitely, this one is definitely respect thing. If anything, like I definitely would have talked. But yeah, I feel the second one. DM basically TPKs us because his boyfriend missed the session. First of all, if any of my party members see this, I'm so sorry. Also, please forgive me if I don't use correct terminology or get a few things wrong. I'm new to this. I'm a new player to D&D and never really watched anyone play it before a few months ago, and this is my first ever campaign. I've been skeptical to the least, not because D&D is too boring, but that joining a campaign seemed daunting. After all, it was a new thing and I'd never done before, which I could be bad at. With the persuasion of my friends that was several months ago, I joined that campaign with my boyfriend. The party as it stands now consists of me, a moth bard, something I'm fairly certain is homebrew, though I could be wrong. Uh, I think I don't think there's an official moth class, so or not class, race. So I think that is a homebrew. For a first campaign, as much as I love playing homebrews, I don't think I would recommend playing a homebrew for your first campaign. because homebrews are very complicated. And, like, they're very complicated, like, things to play as, especially for our first campaigns. I don't know if I'd recommend playing, like, homebrew, unless you think you can handle it, but, like, it's very complicated, especially for a new campaign if you've never even heard of D&D before. I definitely would not have played homebrew first. Yeah, let's continue. And my boyfriend, Elf Wizard, online friend 1, Changeling. I never told what his class was. I know he's a spellcaster. So probably a sorcerer or a wizard. But that could be a lot of classes. Because a lot of classes have spells. Online friend 2, a Siren Bard. Online friend 3, a Bird Gunslinger. And our DM, who is also an online friend, also online friend 3's boyfriend. There's someone sitting in a campaign, but not active in the party, who I'll call Onlooker. There are more people, but they're not important to the story. So wait, each have someone who just sits there and just listens? I don't think I've ever heard that before in a D&D campaign. Huh. Unless I'm getting this wrong, but I might be, but like do they not participate? I don't get it. But that's not the point of the story. But I don't know. I just feel like if you're gonna play D&D, like why just sit there and not do anything? I don't know. Does it make sense to me? I don't know. An important point for the story is I think our DM is new. Either that, he doesn't carry himself with much confidence. He's constantly stuttering, getting spell effects wrong, and kind of derails turns sometimes. Among other things, I think he deserves a bit of grace because he might be new. That is, if I'm not in the wrong. So, new player, new DM, most likely. Yikes. I can already tell this one's going to be a bit much. I can already tell. Basically, our campaign consists of this group of heroes who are trying to dismantle a crime syndicate of clowns. The main character is OF3's character. Before you say that there aren't any main characters in D&D, I can assure you he's the main character. I'm not sure this is normal, but because of my boyfriend's reaction, I'm inclined to believe it isn't. L3's character is basically getting the spotlight, which by itself makes sense. There's an ebb and flow of D&D, where to a period of time, one character is going to get more attention than the others. And I felt like this ebbed with OF3's character, though. Most scenes either started, ended, or starred him, spying on the enemy through a crystal ball and somehow noticed. He smashes it before anyone else gets to interact. Or shopping for stuff, he literally has a panic attack, or ending a session on a cliffhanger, it's because of an observation or action he made or did. It wouldn't be as bad if he didn't constantly derail sessions by obsessing over OF1's cat for 5 minutes at a time. That's neither here or there. Okay, yeah. So there definitely is not supposed to be main characters in D&D. Like you can have like a joke that like a character is the main character, because my group has that. But there should never actually be a main character. Like, of course, there's going to be periods of time and arcs where, like, one character gets more spotlight than others. Like, that's just how an arc works sometimes. But, like, there's a balance to it. Like, there should never be one character in the spotlight for too long and makes other characters feel they're not important. Um, like, a good example of this is Percy from Critical Role Campaign 1. With the Whitestone arc. I definitely think, like, there's certain arcs where like one character would get more time than others, but like of course the other ones will still get their moments, of course. So like there isn't a main character. And it's okay if you like joke around as a main character because like that's what we do. But like it should never actually be a main character. There should never be a main character ever. And like that's just not okay. There should never be a main character. But I digress. Let's continue. The main point was today's session, one that he said he'd be at but couldn't come to because he forgot to tell us he had to finish moving, meeting with IRL friends. That's fine. We could just have it without him. After all, it's the day before our DM's birthday, and you really wanted to have a session the day before. So things should have proceeded without issue, even if we wanted everyone there. What proceeded was something I'm still a bit upset over. Basically, the circus was part of the crime syndicate, saying normal people in single file lines in the circus tents and at the cake with very creepy smiles. These two twins came up to our party. Then myself and my boyfriend, OF1 and OF2 there, and invited us into the tents. We followed, had a heartfelt moment between two of our characters, and met the person who's brainwashing everyone as Elf Lady. After some failed convincing, I started fighting. Something my character didn't want to do, but felt forced to, since all persuasion tactics were useless. By turn 2, OF1 but be charmed and has to roll wisdom save. He rolled 17 and failed. OF2 cast a move that allowed us to roll advantage on charming spells to Elf Lady and special incidents. As soon as it was her turn, DM made her use a spell that negated initiative and still attempted to charm OF2's characters. And we had a team only support. We were having a hard time switching out the main damage dealer of our already crippled party. We were actually managed to hold our own, and then we got the elf girl to half health. She began spewing this green smoke, which had us have to do a wisdom save every turn, else we'd get charmed. Me and my boyfriend were charmed on the elf girl's side, and OF2's character, like the absolute legend that she was, attempted to wrestle control away from the elf girl. Unfortunately, it's made us think of OF2's character like a friendly acquaintance. She was charmed next turn, and then we watched at the tent in a session. Afterwards, it was revealed that the minimum rule we had to get through was the hypnosis gas that she was throwing at us from time to time until the tent was an 18 that we were supposed to lose. He said that we were actually supposed to lose a lot sooner. Go team. The kicker, a completely different plan would have happened had OF3 been there for that session. So basically, next session, I guess OF3's character has to save us. So we're in limbo until we're able to be rescued because something out of our control without our permission. And yet another situation where OF3's character is the main character while the rest of us don't really get any development. I gotta say I'm being more invested in older characters. OF3 and OF1 were OG party members, but this is a bit much, in my opinion. My boyfriend and I, the ones who are actually peeved about it, can't even say anything because it was already said and done with. Our DM just gets sad whenever criticism is thrown his way. Either that or OF3 and OF1 vigorously defend him. I've already had some issues with this party in the past, but I guess it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Is it fine to be feeling this way, or am I being a bit reasonable? Okay, so basically, because OF3 could not show, the DM then proceeded to have them fight a OP boss that they couldn't win. Yeah, that's definitely not okay. If you have if you have a plan, right? Like if you have a thing where the players are supposed to lose, you don't really do initiative. I mean, you could, but like you shouldn't write a boss not that's not even being winnable because one person couldn't show. Like you get what I'm saying? And yeah, the fact that they did that, they made an elf lady who couldn't be beat just because one player couldn't show really sucks. And that's really lame. Um, but yeah. As for not handling criticism well, as a DM, I definitely think you should at least be able to handle criticism at least a little bit. Definitely, because you're trying to impress. Well, not really impress, but you're trying to keep all your players happy. I know you can't make everybody happy, like everybody's different people. You can't keep everyone happy, but you should at least be able to handle a little bit of criticism and a little bit of improvement. And I get some people are more less handling of criticism well than others. But if you're a good DM, you should at least have a little bit. And I don't know. Maybe it's just my opinion, but yeah, definitely not unreasonable to be bitter about this. I know this happened to me, it'd also be pretty bitter. But yeah. Update. Thank you all for the feedback. I decided to wait until our next session to do anything, and to say the least, a lot's happened today. We're supposed to have a session, but apparently OF3, he might be as we'll see later, just didn't want to be there today because he got unmotivated ever since we got charmed, even though it was done for him. Killer said that he was way too locked in for Sagan to play, but when I checked, he wasn't even on Roblox, so that's neither here or there. After that, our DM had to go to work because he randomly got called in. You think we just not do anything, right? Wrong. My boyfriend, LF1, and LF2 all got together to do a flashback session and do some character interactions. It felt like a real session, but no sidetracking. I led it as well, and I felt kind of proud of myself. We had narration, rules, session notes, in the works. Halfway through, LF3 went in no mic, asked what we were doing in call. He explained that he asked who led us. Everyone said that it was inconsequential, and it all seemed fine. That was until the bombshell dropped. He went to the general chat at the server and talked about how he was thinking of leaving the campaign because while he liked the story, everyone took too long on combats. What he said was the player's fault, and that the sessions were dragging on way too long, up to 6 hours, which is fair, but he also said it was the player's fault, kept getting sidetracked, and generally didn't take it seriously. Everyone in call was flabbergasted. LF1 told him that we only take a while in combat because we have new people, and said that we in fact have stuff going on inside of D&D. LF1 has a really spontaneous home life where he's told to do something randomly, he's forced to do it at a specific time when it's out of his control. Onlooker said adding a timer to remedy long returns, but a lot of us didn't like that. Since 2 people in a group have anxiety, we agreed that it'd make it way more stressful than intended and made our campaign not fun. LF3 did not care. Okay, yeah, so LF3 is definitely a bit of a problem player. I would say that. You know, yeah, definitely a problem player in my eyes. There should not be a problem with doing, like, as long as like they had like the DM's permission, I think it's fine to do a flashback session. As long as you like either like ask the DM or you let them know afterwards, like, hey, we did a flashback session, like just to have something to do. And I'm sure they'll be fine with it. But like that's not up to OF3, and also like, you know, it's not the player's fault for battles like fights taking too long. That's more of like what happens and like how the battle goes. Cause like you could have a super easy like one turn boss where you just one shot the boss, right? Like that happens sometimes. Or you just have a really long fight that goes on for the rest of the session, which happens sometimes too, and that's okay because some fights are damn hard. I would know some fights in my group are hard. It took us very long. That has nothing to do with the players. I mean, like, yes, like the players like kind of cut into it, but like that's not like it's not the players' fault if the battle goes long because they probably have a lot of health or something like that. But still, you know. He said, and I quote, "The whole point of D&D is that you're meant to feel pressure in the situation and have to reap the consequences of your actions," which isn't how the rest of us wanted to play at all. Yes, playstyles like that can work, but not in a campaign where everyone else likes whimsy. She also said when D&D isn't meant to be a soft blanket, you're meant to be scared about what comes next, which I can never agree with. She was getting really heated, getting really upset at me specifically, and saying that I never listened to our DM and that I always tried to argue with him. That never happened. Anytime our DM said no, I agreed to back off, but he said he apparently had receipts of me doing this, even though neither I nor the DM typed during the session. I'd like to see the receipts, signaling. Our DM, who's still at work, said he wanted to stop talking about this right now because things were getting heated, and for us to reconvene after his work. We all agreed. Okay. So, the whole point of D&D is to not feel pressured. If you're feeling pressured in stressful situations in D&D, that might be a bad group. I'm not saying you can't be pressured into situations, because, like, of course, you're gonna have some moments where you have, like, a stressful moment in the campaign or something, but you cannot be always stressed out. Getting into games isn't fun. Like, at the end of the day, D&D is a game. If you're stressed out the entire time, it's not fun. And you just don't have fun anymore if you're stressed out, which is not good, you know. And the whole point of like, and yes, you are supposed to read the consequence of your actions, of course, but you do not feel pressured into stressful, bad end scenarios. That's just not how that works. And you're not meant to be scared of what happens next. Yes, there are some moments where you should be scared, of course, whether it's for your character or for like the session in general. But like you should not always be scared. If you're scared, then there's probably a problem. Because like, tell me, if I was playing like, say, Minecraft and I was scared all the time, would I have fun playing Minecraft? No, I would not. I would just be stressed the whole time and I probably would not play the game again. So you should not be scared most of the time. There are some moments where it's reasonable to be scared. I know I've been scared before, but you shouldn't always be scared. That's not the point of D&D. During the hour I was still at work, I was talking to my boyfriend, OF1, OF2, and onlooker, and apparently learned that OF3 did not like me. He was annoyed by me and thought I was too nice. My friends say I'm an over-apologizer and makes me upset because stuff like this has happened to me before. I'm not going to get into it because it doesn't have anything to do with the campaign, but he's been generally really mean to me, even breaking my boundaries, so I find it funny that he apparently hates that I just apologize too much. He keeps insulting my character, calling her dumb, and saying that everything that happened last season was her fault, along with implying that she was crazy the session before that. in and out of character. At first I felt warranted that she's on the dumber side and has amnesia from a brain injury to boot, but after a certain portion, it just felt like major character bleed. Okay. Yeah. Anything hateful, like, at the end of the day, like, you're a group of friends. You should not be taking it out on outside of DM, like, outside D&D. Like, of course, two-player characters can hate each other, or, like, not like each other. They don't have to all like each other, but, like, if you're, like, insulting a character outside of D&D, like, that's when you start to have problems, right? Because you should not be insulting people's characters at the end, like, outside of D&D. Because, like, at the end of the day, you're friends. It's a game. Like, it's supposed to be fun. And you should not trash on other people's players just because of something specific. Like, that's just dumb. It doesn't make sense to me, but I digress. When the DM got off of work, I generally tried to lead the conversation, asking everyone exactly what they want out of our campaign and what they'd like to see in the campaign. Color 3 didn't answer and still hasn't because he's sulking. I also asked our DM to be more open to criticism when he said that he couldn't promise he wouldn't get upset, but he tried to take everything into consideration. Baby steps. I also tried going into O3's DM, asking what I'd done during the upset with me, but he never responded. Overall, it wasn't a very good experience. They have a lot to square away, but the plus side, I'm actually playing my first campaign as a DM. It's gonna include my boyfriend, OF2, and Onlooker. All well that ends well, I guess. Thank you for all giving me advice, helping me a lot. I'm setting not to leave the campaign, at least not right now, as it's too soon to tell if I should. I will say, maybe besides OF3, I'm not planning on cutting heads anyone because they're still my friends. I'm a firm believer that what happens at the table should stay at the table. And the second that session truly starts, you should leave all problems outside, so I don't take anything personally. If anything else major happens, I'll update, but hopefully this will be the last time I have to go through turmoil because of this campaign. Thank you for reading. I will say, right, try the OP trying to talk to everyone and get everyone to talk to each other. And OF3 not saying anything, that's you can't really complain about that when you're not saying anything. If you're just sitting there sulking instead of saying what upset you or what you're looking for in the campaign. If you're just sitting there the whole time when you have a problem, that's that causes other problems to rise up as well. And you know, the DM of course also is trying to do better, which is good. I'm actually very happy that the DM is trying to be better, criticism wise, which is good. Yeah. As for what I would do in this situation, this one is a bit more complicated than the first one. I probably would again try to talk to I've definitely tried to talk to OP3 way earlier and try to talk to them a bit before things got spiraled like this. But yeah, this one's definitely more of a problem player than the first one. The first one was more just disrespect toward the DM, but this player is generally causing problems for both the players and the DM. So I think I would have kicked this player a lot sooner than the other one. Of course, you're trying to please everybody at the table. And if one player is making other players uncomfortable or upset, or not feel like they're not included, I probably would have kicked this player a very long time ago before it even got to that point. But I know it's hard to kick a player, but there's just some points you gotta do it for the good of the group. And I think definitely this is one of those times. I think it's harder because it's your partner, but still, they're just causing so many problems. So I probably would have gotten rid of them a lot sooner than the story. But yeah, that one is definitely something, you know, yeah. Definitely would have kicked this player a lot sooner and, you know, like, if it would if I was a player, I would talk to the DM about this and tell them everything that happened. If I was a DM, I would talk to the player and maybe kick them because they're causing problems to everyone else. So, one player should not be causing problems for the whole rest of the group. But yeah, definitely a more complicated situation. I definitely hope that I'm glad they're actually still playing D&D and not 'cause I know if most people have a bad experience with D&D for their first game, they quit or they don't play D&D anymore. I'm glad they're still deciding to play D&D afterwards and actually DMing. Like, that's good. I'm very happy for them. In the group, most of it together, which is good. You know, it didn't, like, cause a whole, like, breakout, which is good. You know, I'm very happy that I'm happy this one had a happy ending. Because it definitely could have gone a lot worse with a player like this. Definitely. But yeah, got one more story, and then we'll wrap up the video. DM used my friend's character as a human incubator. Ooh, yeah. So before we go any farther, definitely if you are not comfortable with sexual NSFW stuff like that, I would not continue past this point. Yeah, I hope you guys liked the video if you're leaving. I hope you liked the video so far. If you let me know if you want me to do more stuff like this. But yeah, for the people who are staying, you know, buckle up. We're about to get into a really, really tough one. DM used my friend's character, the human incubator. This was a couple years ago, but the reason why I stopped playing for a good while. This guy was a huge min-maxer, and I felt like he would purposely make enemies that we'd never be able to defeat because then he'd have his own player character swoop in just to help the party out. One thing about his characters is that they're usually fire genasi because he loved fire genasi in particular for some reason. Probably because they're hot. I'm not saying they're hot to me, but some people think they're hot. So, yeah. Some people think they're hot. Not me, but some people think fire genasis are really hot. But yeah, I digress. During the first campaign, my friend made a fire genasi character. The DM started making his personal misinterpret this character that the campaign is making it hard for her to get any type of win. This eventual character ends up dying at some point in the campaign. So they die in the first campaign at some point after being tormented by the DM. Which, first of all, if I was getting tormented by my DM, you know, I would have left probably because that sucks a lot. It sucks to be targeted and tormented just for playing a certain character. But yeah. Now fast forward to the second campaign we did, which was the worst one. I could tell so many stories about this guy. This dead fire zombie makes a character. He has this overpowered ass PC character take us to his base and shows that she was being kept alive on life support, and she's also somehow pregnant. Oh boy. And then he used the baby of this comatose woman who is basically implied to be a victim as his own character for the next campaign. This guy just in general seemed to lack a respect for female characters or feminine characters because there's another incident where he implied that his villain character was going to take advantage of another party member's character while she was drunk, and then another where he would repeatedly have his villain kidnapped and cross the boundaries of another female character. It's all super weird. I feel like I learned everything to look out for a DM in this guy. Yeah. Yeah, that one's pretty bad. Definitely I probably like if I was a player in this situation, definitely would have left like the first time, like in the first campaign, I definitely would not have stayed around for the second one. But yeah, the fact that they're using a dead character, keeping them alive, just to make a new character, which is disgusting. Like I'm assuming they didn't even talk to the player character, but that's disgusting. Like that actually like disgusting behavior, and that should not ever be in D&D because at the end of the day, like that's their character. Like that's disgusting. And if you're doing stuff like that in your campaign, genuinely think about it for a minute because that is disgusting. Um, but yeah, you should always have respect for your player characters. And you should never do stuff like this ever. As a DM, if starting as a DM, do not ever do this. Do not ever, ever do this. Do not ever disrespect your player characters in this way. Do not ever force anything like this onto your player characters because it is disgusting and it just makes you look like a creep. It makes you a creep, actually. But it's disgusting and you should not ever do this, ever. Just from one D&D player to another. Don't do this. Don't even think of anything similar to this. It's disgusting. It's terrible. And it should not ever be a thing. And I'm so sorry to the person who posted this. That's horrible and disgusting. I hope that never happens again. That's terrible. And as for the DM, shame on you. Shame on you for doing this. Shame on you for doing this disgusting thing with your player characters and female characters in general. Shame on you. You should really reevaluate yourself and think about yourself for a good minute, because that is disgusting. And thank the Lord, thank God I have a good DM, because if my DM was doing this, I don't know what I would do, right? Thank goodness I have a good DM. This story actually makes me appreciate my DM a lot more. So if you are my DM, you know who you are. I love you. You're great. You're amazing. Yeah, but to this DM, shame on you. Speak, like, think about it. Think about yourself for a good minute. And don't ever do this. Do not ever do this. If you are starting as a DM, do not do this. Do not, I repeat, if you take away one thing from this video, do not do this. Do not. It just makes you a creep, and that should be common sense. But don't do this. Don't do anything similar to this. Respect your player characters. They respect you, and you respect them. Do not ever do this. That is disgusting. Don't do that. Anyway, let's wrap up the video. Sorry for that little rant that I had there. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a like and maybe subscribe if you're new. Of course, I'm probably going to do more of these, but if you want to see more of these, let me know. And I'll probably do more because it's actually pretty fun to read D&D stories and get my insight on them. But yeah, I hope you liked the video. Sorry for that last story. But yeah, if you liked it, leave a like, subscribe, and if you want to see more of this, leave a comment. Comments always help me figure out what you guys want to watch, and what content you want me to make, so let me know. And, stay frosty. I love y'all very much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!